Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Monday, February the 25th. We've got a big Monday slate, 11 games on Monday. A lot to talk about. There's some big injuries on the slate. A lot of the studs are questionable. Harden is questionable right now as I'm recording this video. Giannis is doubtful. He's unlikely to play. Joel Embiid is going to be out for an extended period of time. We do know that. He's going to miss about a week. Karl Anthony Towns listed as questionable on DraftKings, but he's actually probable, so Cat's expected to play. Luka Doncic, I believe, is still questionable, so waiting on that. Mike Conley listed as questionable, but I think he is probable. He's expected to play. But definitely a big injury at the top with Harden potentially missing again and Giannis unlikely to play. That's going to open up some really strong plays. We're going to talk about those strong plays. The guys that benefit from Giannis being out did not get priced accordingly on both DraftKings and Yahoo, so they're going to really stand out on this slate. If there's pivots, I'll try and talk about those, but it looks like those are going to be the clear plays we want to go to. But we will work our way through each position and talk about some of the guys that stand out to me, work our way through the player pool. Just before we do get started, I would appreciate it if you guys would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. But top of point guard position, we got James Harden, 11,400 in a home matchup with the Hawks. Obviously a great matchup for James Harden. He is still a little bit more expensive though than what I want to pay, especially on this slate. I think this is going to be a slate where we're going to have a lot of good like 8K to 6K plays, and I just don't know if this is going to be a stars and scrubs slate unless just a lot of value opens up. We do have some value right now, but there's just so many good mid-tier plays like guys in the 7-8K range that I feel like I can get 50 plus from, to where I don't see myself paying up for Harden. Really just not going to be paying this price tag for him when Chris Paul is healthy. Just don't think he's worth this price tag, even in a home matchup with the Hawks. Even if he goes out there and puts up 70 fantasy points, depending on how the slate goes, that might not even be good enough. And obviously, if James Harden is out, then Chris Paul at 8,300, we'll talk about in a second, becomes a very, very good play. But I really don't like any of the expensive point guards. I think the really good plays are in the 8K range. Like, I'm not probably going to play Curry today. Lillard won't really look to. Kimba would probably be my favorite option just because it's a home matchup with the Warriors. It feels like a game Kimba would get up for, try to play well. But I really like Chris Paul at 8,300. I think he is a very good play today if James Harden is out. If James Harden plays, 8,300 is a little bit more expensive than what I want to pay for Chris Paul. Not knowing the status of James Harden, though, right now I think there is a good pivot for 300 less. I really like Ben Simmons today, especially if James Harden is out. Ben Simmons is going to come way lower owned than he should be, because everyone in that price range is probably just going to play Chris Paul at 8,300 if James Harden's out. Not many people are going to play Simmons today. Kind of the same deal on Yahoo. Paul and Simmons are both point guard. Paul's 37, Simmons is 36. Even if Harden is out today, I'll have some exposure to Chris Paul, but I really like getting Ben Simmons for way lower owned than what Chris Paul will be. Love this spot for Ben Simmons. Matchup with the Pelicans. Love that matchup. The Pelicans are a pretty bad defensive team, and they do play at a very fast pace. I imagine Simmons probably is guarded by Drew Holiday, and overall defensively that matchup is not good because Drew Holiday is a very good defender. But the pace of this game just sets up so well for Ben Simmons. We know Joel Embiid is not going to play in this game, so that's going to get more usage for Simmons. Obviously Jimmy Butler should benefit as well. Tobias Harris should benefit. But last game we saw Ben Simmons play really well against Portland, had a 29, 7, and 10 game, nearly had a triple-double, had 52 DraftKings points in 36 minutes. I'd probably project Simmons around 45 to 50 fantasy points. I think he can easily get there in this matchup, so like him quite a bit at 8K. He is one of my favorite plays in that point guard mid-range. He's a guy that I'm really looking to. If you're going a little bit cheaper, the next guy that really stands out to me is Eric Bledsoe. He is going to be very popular today, but it's very hard to ignore Eric Bledsoe. On DraftKings at 6,400, I guess there are other plays you could go to. I would not feel comfortable playing guys like CJ McCollum at the same price range or Brandon Ingram. But I guess you could go there. But on Yahoo, where it's $21 for Eric Bledsoe, it's just so hard to avoid him. He's probably going to be like 60, 70% owned on Yahoo. But in my 10 Yahoo lineups, I'm probably going to play him every one just because at $21, he seems like the clear, obvious play in this price range. Like, I don't see Darren Collison outscoring Eric Bledsoe. I don't really see Reggie Jackson outscoring Bledsoe. I don't think Derrick Rose or Winslow or Payton outscores him. Maybe Elfrid Payton if he plays like 35 minutes, but we don't really know how many minutes Payton's going to play on a nightly basis. Eric Bledsoe at $21 on Yahoo also looks like a very good play. Just an overall good play on both sides. with Giannis doubtful, Eric Bledsoe does pick up some more usage. He's had some big games this year when Giannis has missed. The price tag has dropped a lot because he hasn't been playing that well lately, but when you take Giannis off the court, that's a lot of usage to go around. Eric Bledsoe is going to benefit. Chris Middleton's going to benefit. Nikola Mirotic now on this team should benefit as well. I think Brook Lopez as a value center, another guy we could consider. So the Bucks are definitely going to be a team we want to target. Doesn't hurt at all though, or it doesn't hurt at all as well that it's a matchup with the Bulls. Love that matchup. Bulls a very bad defensive team, and without Giannis, hopefully this game does stay close. Hopefully the Bucks don't blow out the Bulls and this game can stay close, because I think there could be some good plays on the Bulls side as well if you do want to target multiple players from this game. I think that's going to be something you probably want to do on today's slate. But now looking at other point guards we want to go to, if we want to try and find some value here, not really a ton of value stands out to me. I think Tyler Johnson at 4,800 makes some sense. It is a revenge game for Tyler Johnson going back to Miami to face the Heat. He did look really good in that game against the Hawks. Also looked really good against Cleveland. He's played 33 and 35 minutes the last two games. The price tag has definitely jumped, but if Tyler Johnson is going to continue to play 34, 35 minutes as the starting point guard, 4,800 definitely makes sense as a value play. And then Elfrid Payton at 4,800 as well. Did look really good in that game against the Lakers. Played 36 minutes, had 38 fantasy points. The minutes are going to be a little bit up and down for Elfrid Payton. We never know if he's going to play like 30, or like high 30s in minutes, or if he's going to play like high 20s, low 30s. I'd say he probably plays like 32, 33 minutes. At 4,800 definitely makes sense as a value play. Anthony Davis is going to play, so that obviously takes away a little bit of usage from Elfrid Payton and Drew Holiday as well. But Payton is still really, really cheap. Him and Tyler Johnson, in my opinion, both make sense as value point guards. But let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard now. So for this position, I think the clear play here, actually I think there's two clear plays. Jimmy Butler at 7,100 looks really, really good against the Pelicans with Joel Embiid out for this game. I think he is a very good option if you're going to him. I think Chris Middleton at 6,300 is also going to be a very good play today as well. He is a guy that really benefits when Giannis is off the court. Chris Middleton, I know in the past, has had some triple doubles when Giannis has been out. He's had like 50 plus DraftKings point games so far in the past when Giannis has missed. Doesn't hurt that it's a matchup with the Bulls, like I said earlier. Great matchup for Middleton. 6,300, just too cheap for Middleton. Probably project him for about high 30s, low 40s in fantasy points. He's going to be very popular today, but definitely is hard to avoid. If you want to find the salary to get up to Jimmy Butler, who I do like a lot, as a lower owned guy, I think that makes sense. In cash games, I would probably just play Chris Middleton. Wouldn't really take the risk of fading him. He's going to be massively owned. He probably puts up a good game here. I would imagine at least out of Middleton, Bledsoe, Mirotic, and Lopez, out of the at least 4 or 5 starters we know, I think Ersan probably starts, but out of the 4 or 5 starters, at least probably 2 or 3 of them are going to exceed value. I wouldn't be surprised if all 4 starters exceed value just with how cheap they are and what you project for them with Giannis off the floor. But those are definitely the 2 shooting guard plays that really stand out to me, the 2 guys I'm looking to the most. I think a guy like Kent Bazemore at 5,400 makes some sense. Kevin Huerter, questionable for this game. Taurean Prince is out. So Kent Bazemore at 5,400 would be a guy you could go to. He probably comes in a little bit lower owned today because you have Middleton and Jimmy Butler, who I do expect to be a little bit popular at this position. You got Tyler Johnson, 4,800, who I also like. Ever since Jeremy Lamb moved to the bench and they've been starting Miles Bridges, Nicholas Batum has really benefited, been playing really well since Jeremy Lamb moved to the bench. At 4,700, don't mind him today as a shooting guard play if you're trying to find value here. And then if James Harden is out, Eric Gordon at 4,600 becomes a very good option if you need some value as well. But let's go ahead and move on to small forward now and talk about this position. So LeBron at the top here, 11-2 in a road matchup with the Grizzlies. Don't really have a ton of interest in LeBron here. Pace down spot, a Grizzlies team that does play overall good team defense, just not a big fan of LeBron. I don't think we really need to pay up for him on the slate. And obviously Giannis is doubtful, so he's unlikely to play, not going to go to him. Kevin Durant at 9,400, I really don't have a ton of interest in either. Just really haven't been playing any of these Warriors guys when they're all fully healthy until their price tags get really, really cheap. I just don't really feel like I need to go to the Warriors guys, especially on an 11-game slate. I think there's other ways we could go. I really like Jimmy Butler at small forward. I really like Tobias Harris. Those are the 2 guys that stand out to me. 7,100 for Jimmy, 6,800 for Tobias Harris. Chris Middleton, you can play at small forward. I talked about, I really like him. Otto Porter Jr. is questionable today for the Bulls. That could potentially open up some value. I think Shaq Harrison started the second half for Otto Porter when he got hurt in their last game. He's only 3,100, could potentially be a value play. He only played 19 minutes, but you would imagine if Porter's out, Shaq Harrison probably gets mid-20s, upper 20s in minutes, could potentially even reach the 30s. He's the minimum price or 100 away from minimum, so could be a small forward value play today if Otto Porter is out. Not my favorite value, but at least is in consideration if Porter sits. You have Kent Bazemore, who I talked about, 5,400. I like him quite a bit. With Prince out and Herter questionable, I think he should benefit there. And then Eric Gordon, if James Harden sits, becomes a great option at 4,600. DeAndre Bembry as well, with Taurean Prince out, could benefit from that. There's a chance DeAndre Bembry moves into the starting lineup. I know he's very cheap across both sites. He's 3,500 on DraftKings. His list says questionable, but he's actually probable. So DeAndre Bembry expect to play. Should benefit with Taurean Prince out. 3,500 value play. Wouldn't mind going there. I'm sure he's minimum price on Yahoo, so you could definitely play him on both sites. But let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. Talk about this position. So this is a position where I think we have another kind of chalky play we're going to get to in a second. Before we get there, though, talking about some of the stud options, Blake Griffin, Anthony Davis, two guys I really don't have much interest in. Blake Griffin, not the best matchup against the Pacers. Pacers are a good team defensively. They don't play at a very fast pace. Anthony Davis, we know, even though his price tag looks really good at 8,100, the minutes just on a nightly basis are going to be so inconsistent. I honestly would rather play Lauri Markkanen for cheaper. Lauri Markkanen been on an absolute tear lately. I think if you're going to stack this game and play multiple Bulls or multiple Bucks and you want to play some Bulls, Markkanen would be the first guy I would look to. Dude's just been so good lately. Been putting up 40, 45 fantasy points on a nightly basis. That seems like his floor lately. He's giving you a ceiling. He has 55, 60 point upside. This game should stay close since Giannis probably won't play. So like Markkanen quite a bit at 7,900. Now that Kevin Love's minutes have gotten to the high 20s and could potentially reach 30 plus here, 6,900 for Kevin Love if he's going to eclipse 30 minutes is a little bit too cheap. I wouldn't mind playing him today. Tobias Harris I talked about I like quite a bit. It's 6,800 with Embiid out for this game. But want to talk about Nikola Mirotic. He's going to be probably a very, very popular option at power forward, but just makes a ton of sense. He's 5,400 on DraftKings. He's also very cheap on Yahoo. I think he's $21 over here. Yeah, $21. He's priced around guys like Josh Jackson, Rudy Gay, Harrison Barnes. Mirotic just clearly stands out of those, or in that price range, as the best play. With Giannis out for this game, I imagine Mirotic probably starts. I would say their starting lineup is most likely going to be Bledsoe, Brogdon, Middleton, Mirotic, and then Brook Lopez at center. And honestly, I think all five starters for the Bucks today are in play. Those five guys, I think, are all five in play. Brogdon would probably be my least favorite. I'd probably rank them like Bledsoe, Mirotic. When you factor in price, Bledsoe number 1, Mirotic 2, Middleton 3, Lopez 4, Brogdon 5. But all five guys I'm probably going to have some exposure to across all my lineups. They just stand out to me today as just too good of plays to avoid. Mirotic at 5,400 is too cheap with Giannis out. He should eclipse probably 25, 26, 27 minutes. He's played 14 and 18 minutes in the two games with the Bucks this year. But obviously with Giannis playing, you're not going to get a ton of minutes out of Mirotic. With Giannis most likely missing this game, Mirotic should get up to the high 20s, potentially could even reach 30 minutes. Mirotic is always a guy that's going to get his shots up. He's going to be around the basket to grab rebounds, could easily eclipse 30 fantasy points. I'd honestly probably project him for like 32, 33 fantasy points. Would not be surprised if he scores more than that. So 5,400, plus you add the revenge game against the Bulls. Do like Mirotic. Really stands out at power forward as one of the top plays at this position. And if you're going for value, there's not a ton of value that I love at power forward. Most likely going to be playing a lot of Mirotic here. Probably won't be going cheap. I wouldn't be surprised if they started Ersan. I think Ersan's pretty cheap. I'm sure he's like minimum price. He's 3,400. I wouldn't be surprised if they started him and brought Mirotic off the bench. So if Ersan starts, he could be a value. But I still, even if Mirotic starts or comes off the bench, I still have a ton of interest in him at 5,400. But let's go ahead and move on to center. So at the top here, we do have Karl-Anthony Towns, 10,100 against the Kings. Absolutely love Karl-Anthony Towns on this slate. If I'm going to spend 10K or above on one player, it's going to be him. Obviously, we don't have Giannis. We don't have Embiid. Harden is questionable, but I don't really have much interest in him. That really only leaves LeBron, and I told you how I feel about LeBron. He's not my favorite play today. Karl Anthony Towns at 10-1 against the Kings. If I'm going to pay it for someone, if I'm going to go stars and scrubs, he's going to be the guy that I go to. Love the matchup with the Kings, a Kings team that plays fast, not good defensively against centers. Cat has had a ton of success in this matchup so far this year. Really like him at the top of this position. There are good mid-tier plays, though. If you don't want to play Cat, I think there's some really good mid-tier plays. We talked about Lauri Markkanen, who I like quite a bit. Clint Capella at 7K I think is really good. Kevin Love I mentioned at power forward I like now that he's getting his minutes. The guy that I really want to talk about, though, is Hassan Whiteside. This is a guy that I've actually gotten right quite a bit this year. Whiteside seems to never fail me, even though his minutes are always up and down. It seems when I play him, those are the days that he goes off for 50 DraftKings points and plays 30 minutes. Probably now that I say this, though, this will be a game where Whiteside plays like 20 minutes and puts up like 15 fantasy points. But the matchup's just too good. Against the Suns, Whiteside should be able to dominate here. I love him on both sides. I hope he's low owned today. He's only $24 on Yahoo. He's only $6,600 on DraftKings. If Whiteside plays anywhere near 30 minutes here against the Suns, should just absolutely be able to dominate DeAndre Ayton. Ayton's not the best rebounder. This could definitely be like a 20-20 game out of Whiteside. Should be able to pick up some blocks as well. It's just such a good spot. We've seen so far this year when Whiteside's had good matchups like against the Kings. I think this is a really good matchup for him against the Wizards. Earlier this year he dominated. When Whiteside gets the right matchup, he can really produce, and this is definitely the right one against a very bad Suns team. So love Whiteside at center. Hope he's low owned today. He's probably one of my favorite plays on this slate if he is very low owned. If you want to go for a cheaper play, I think you could go to Valanciunas. I don't love him as much on DraftKings because the price difference is only $200 between Whiteside and Joe Val, and I think I would just rather play Whiteside there. On Yahoo, though, Joe Val looks really good. He's only $18 over here. Definitely like Valanciunas, especially if he's going to be playing somewhere near 30 minutes a night for the Grizzlies, which is what he played in his last game, 29 minutes against the Cavs, 43 fantasy points. If we get 29, 30 minutes out of Valanciunas against this Lakers team, should absolutely go off for at least 30, 35, 40 fantasy points. Valanciunas is a very productive player when he's on the floor, so I like him quite a bit, especially on Yahoo where he's only $18. And then if Miles Turner is out, Domantas Sabonis, 6,300 against the Pacers. Really, really good play. Don't really have to tell you that. But value-wise at center, I don't see myself really going cheap here. The one cheap guy that I do like, if you are going to go cheap, is Brook Lopez. I don't see myself prioritizing Brook Lopez on the slate because I think Cat at the top is really good. I think Whiteside in the mid-range is a very good play. But if I do need a value or if I'm playing two centers on this slate, Brook Lopez at 4,600 definitely stands out. Should be able to pick up more rebounds with Giannis off the floor. Giannis, obviously one of the best rebounders, grabs a ton of rebounds for this Bucks team on a nightly basis. Brook Lopez should be able to pick up some rebounds with Giannis missing this game. Would not be surprised if you get a double-double out of him. And he's going up against his brothers, so a little bit of narrative street there going up against Robin Lopez. But do like Brolo as a value play. 4,600 if you want to play him for cheap. I think he makes a lot of sense at center. But I think that's it for center, guys, and I think that's it for the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below or hit me up on Twitter at @thedfs_goat. But yeah, guys, good luck tonight on this 11-game slate. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.